Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Keela Flores with IABC. Welcome to today's Solution Provider webinar, The New Normal, Reaching Everyone Working from Home. During the presentation, all participants will be in a listen-only mode. Feel free to submit written questions anytime by using the chat or Q&A windows. We will go over all questions at the end of the webinar. Our speaker today is Christian Rockwell and Tom McDonough. Christian is the CMO at Vebrick Systems, Inc. and brings over 15 years of experience in the software industry, helping companies to leverage technology to drive business results. Christian has held strategy and marketing leadership positions at Sparta Systems, Inc., Oracle, and Siebel Systems, Inc., and began his career in strategy consulting. Tom is the Director of Sales Engineering at Vebrick Systems, Inc., and manages the engineering team for the Americas. He has been with Vebrick for over 5 years and has been in the streaming media industry for over 20 years. Our solution provider today is Vebrick Systems, Inc. Founded in 1998, there are a few companies in the market with more video experience than Vebrick. Vebrick has been a leader in the video space since its start. Their origin is codecs, video encoding, and editing. The Vebrick name originated from their encoders that led the market. Today, they have harnessed their deep video streaming experience to deliver Rev, the industry-leading cloud-based enterprise video platform. Architected from the ground up as a cloud-native video solution and as the only first-party ECDN on the market, their unique end-to-end platform can be delivered as a cloud or cloud hybrid solution. And now I'd like to turn it over to Christian and Tom.
Good morning, and thank you very much, and good morning, good afternoon to everybody, depending on where you are. Tom and I are excited to spend time with you today talking about how video is fast becoming the key enabler for the new normal that we're all living, and then what that new normal will be after we emerge from our hibernation as a result of COVID-19. And today you'll learn about trends impacting the growth of video, how the current environment is accelerating that use, and how enterprise video solutions can easily be leveraged to connect and empower employees, partners, and customers. But first, I'd like to talk a little bit about Vebrick, and we mentioned in the introduction about Vebrick. We've been in enterprise video for over 20 years, started with encoders, and about 2014, 2015, we entered into the software space with our platform, enterprise video platform, Rev. We have about 400 plus customers globally across a number of industries: financial services, technology, healthcare, government, engineering. So serving companies in all industries and all use cases as it relates to video. We have about 2.7 million licensed users of our Rev platform globally. So as a result, we've been able to see a tremendous amount of how video was adopted and is being adopted, both pre-coronavirus and as we live today, and then looking at trends going into the future. First, I'd like to provide a little bit of market context. When we talk video, it can mean many things to many different people. So we wanted to lay that context out, and so we can see what trends are happening pre-COVID-19, how COVID-19 is impacting those trends, and then we can talk a little bit about how video can be leveraged to support business continuity, and then also going forward as it becomes part of really the new normal of how we communicate and collaborate. So for the purpose of this session, just to define enterprise video refers to on-demand video as well as live video broadcasting, solutions that address company needs, provide capabilities to create video, manage that video content, publish that video content in various ways, and then distribute that video to viewers both internally within a company on the company's network, as well as externally outside of the company's network or outside of the company's firewall. The enterprise video platform really encompasses 3 core capabilities. To provide a little bit more detail, there is the ability to capture or ingest or process video from multiple sources. So whether you're using Zoom as we are today, or a mobile camera, or a studio camera setup, that is how video can be captured or ingested. And then once video is captured, how do you manage that video content? So how do you authenticate it? How do you publish it? How do you approve it? How do you search it? How are you storing it and tagging it? And then how are you reporting on video, both live streaming as it's being viewed, and then also video on demand as it's being consumed? And then the third major component of an enterprise video platform is distribution. How is that video distributed via the corporate network or externally via the internet to optimize the viewer experience? And then in terms of, today we've seen a lot of video conferencing discussion as we're all working from home and leveraging tools like GoToMeeting and Zoom as we are today, or Microsoft Teams, Cisco Webex. So video conference solutions, I wanted to draw a distinction between video conference solutions and enterprise video platforms. They're complementary, but as I said in the beginning, video can mean different things to different people. So trying to draw a distinction between the two and help you understand how they can play together to serve very important and critical company needs, especially in today's day. So video conferencing solutions enable 2 or more connected video feeds to allow for real-time, one-to-one, or many-to-many synchronous communication, which is ideal for team collaboration and individual communication. As we've seen, anybody that has children, they're likely using, in many cases, Zoom or other tools like that for school. We're all using it in our workplace to collaborate with our coworkers and partners and customers potentially. But one area that these solutions are challenged to serve is when you're using them for broad audiences. That's where these solutions start to have limitations and start to break down in terms of the ability to run a town hall to 500, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 people. These solutions are great to capture video, but don't provide a great viewing experience and also can't serve that size of audience. So that's where the enterprise video platforms come into play. The solutions enable one-to-many live streaming and on-demand video communications from end to end, including streaming, recording, transcribing, sharing, searching, translating, and securely and efficiently managing video content. So they really empower organizations to take advantage of the video collaboration investments they've made in things like GoToMeeting and Zoom and Microsoft Teams, and can integrate with those solutions to then use those solutions as the capture point of video, but then use solutions like vBrick Rev to distribute out to broad audiences. And I'll talk about some specific examples of how companies in today's world are using the combination of the two solutions to reach those broad audiences, both internal audiences, employees, customer base, partner base, to be able to reach those groups, those audiences with video, and really empower and communicate and enhance the collaboration experience. So let's talk a little bit about trends that have been impacting the growth of enterprise video pre-COVID-19. So key things that we saw over the past 3-5 years that have been driving the growth of video as a tool within the workplace and across the enterprise, things like the digital transformation initiative. That's something that in all of our organizations we're seeing digital transformation, which is really how companies are applying technology to improve how work is done. And that can be seen in how collaboration tools are adopted, how cloud process automation tools are adopted. So broad macro trend that is influencing how companies are leveraging technology, and video is one of the key drivers or one of the key components of that. Second area is the nature of communication has evolved. The number of tools available to us, how we communicate in our personal lives, texting and other forms of communication, all of that has driven additional influence within the B2B space and within the enterprise space in terms of how employees, how partners, how customers, how we're communicating with our customers as well. And then we can see consumer video is dominating the web. I think, I think one thing about COVID-19 with things like TikTok has seen a lot of airtime in terms of video being consumed in our personal lives. That is the same thing in the business world, where video is being used more and more across different use cases, across different functions for different purposes, both live video as well as on-demand and recorded video distributed out to help connect and empower employees. A fourth trend that we've seen is the millennial workforce is growing and favors video. This is a generation that has grown up with technology, has grown up using video and other social media tools in their personal lives, and they want to use the same tools and have the same experiences with the tools they're using in their work lives. And that's really driving the adoption and consideration of video within the workplace. And then lastly, in terms of a major macro trend, is business video is growing due to expanded uses. Video started off with sort of isolated use cases, and now you can see it across functions. You can see it across corporate communications, across HR, sales, marketing, IT, training. Video is really ubiquitous across our organizations, and we're seeing that grow and grow and grow, and then the video on demand content grow and grow and being consumed by our employees and by our partners and by our customers. Another area that's really driven the use of video is the increase in investment in collaboration technology. We talked about Zoom and Teams and Cisco Webex. Those are all collaboration technologies that people are taking advantage of, but also trends such as the growth of video endpoints within our office places. You may work for a company that when we return back to our offices, we have video endpoints or video conference setups in our conference rooms. More and more companies are leveraging technology to equip those conference rooms and provide endpoints either within a conference room, or you may have one sitting on your desk at work, really being able to make video more accessible, both from a live video participation as well as a on-demand video consumption and also generation perspective. Investments in video conferencing infrastructure, the growth of the video conferencing industry pre-COVID and now with COVID, I think will only continue to sustain the adoption of video across functions. We talked about that, how more and more companies are finding use cases of video across the functions of the organization. The growth and adoption of IP video phones and webcams, so video is more available to both capture, or you may be watching this on a laptop or on a desktop or a phone, and those have cameras, and being able to capture and view video over those is now very easy. And then the adoption of UC and web conferencing solutions, as we're seeing today, has been increasing steadily over the past several years, has hit an inflection point of acceleration with the pandemic that we're dealing with currently. And then the question is, and we'll talk about in a second, what does that mean for trends going forward in terms of remote work, and how will that influence the tools that we use and how video plays within the tools that we use? You can see that video has been transforming the workplace across the organization. 85% of enterprises are using video for internal communication, such as on-demand company updates and executive communication, and that we've only seen an increase today as crisis communications and business continuity communications are employed by companies to reach their employees and help them know what the company is doing to address the current pandemic. 90% of enterprises are using video for training and education as companies seek to save on training, travel, and deliver more uniform and consistent training. They're adopting video, both live streaming and on-demand video to support training initiatives. 70% of enterprises have enabled employees to create videos. So going back to the point of the video endpoints, mobile phones, camera-enabled laptops, now video is much more available, and people can generate a lot more self-generated or employee-generated content. It's no longer video can only be created in a studio with a big camera setup and a crew. Now you can create videos, as we see today, whether it be sales reps creating videos for sales communications, or HR representatives developing video for HR communications, or benefits training for employees. So it's very easy to create video today. And then lastly, 60% of enterprises have broadcasted events, town halls, and conferences using video, and that more recently has increased dramatically as companies have turned to video to help in their communications. But now let's look at what we see in the future, and this is pulling from some recent research by an analyst firm called Numerities Research that really looked at the percentage of employees working from home, both full and part-time, pre-COVID and post-COVID, in terms of the forecast of who will continue to work remotely. When you look at normal full-time, all size companies, about 34.6% of employees were working remotely. that estimated is post-COVID is based on the survey they conducted, about 71.8% of full-time employees will be either remote or partly remote in terms of their work environment. So that's a dramatic shift in how companies need to provide tools to help those employees connect and collaborate and do their jobs day to day, and then also how they provide tools to help them connect with other employees, and then provide communication tools that allow the company to communicate with those individuals, because many of them may not be in an office. So what tools can you use to connect with those employees as people may not return to the physical office after this pandemic? So we spoke about use cases a second ago. Let's drill into that a little bit further. Video has been serving many use cases, and those use cases are growing and, frankly, being invested in as a result of business continuity initiatives that will be sustained after the COVID-19 pandemic. Things like using video for CEO town halls, for companies going through mergers and reorganizations to help communicate and bring employees up to speed on what's happening with the organization. Speaker series from an employee education perspective, employee newsletters, we're seeing many of those go to video with snippets of people providing updates versus just a static email. Training, companies are using it for employee onboarding, live training sessions, certainly for on-demand safety and compliance training. IT organizations are investing in video to help drive, and video solutions to help drive bandwidth optimization, to make sure that they're providing the right security and authentication across their employees around the investments they've made in video. PR and marketing functions are leveraging video for video webinars, product launches, earning announcements. If you visit the VBrick website, all of the videos on our website are housed on our internal Rev platform instance, and we embed them in our web pages. So that way it helps us be able to manage all of the video content that we have and make it available through our web CMS system onto our website. So it creates a much more efficient process to manage the video, and frankly, a much better viewing experience for visitors to our website. And then the sales function using video for things like recorded product demos or even broadcasted product demos, customer onboarding, being able to provide that to broad customer bases, either live streaming or on demand to onboard them. And then video introduction emails, video collateral to help people understand how the solution works and what the value proposition and what challenges the solution solves. So as you can see, video is really used across the organization, and that use has been steadily growing, and we see that use increasing dramatically as a result of the current state, but it will just continue to sustain as people become more comfortable and more familiar with video as a communications vehicle. But looking at video within the enterprise, because that's a very different thing than each of us maybe watching Netflix at home over the internet, video delivered within the enterprise has specific challenges that companies really need to address. So video content must be managed and secure. How do you make sure that whatever video content you're creating, if it's internal communications and you don't want it exposed externally, how do you manage that? How do you secure it? How do you make sure that people have to authenticate to be able to view it? That is a key component of an enterprise video solution that companies need to invest in. Videos are siloed in various applications. Many companies over time, with the evolution and the development of video, have created video, but created video in pockets that may be shared, maybe stored on a SharePoint, maybe stored on laptops, maybe shared on a shared drive, maybe shared in a number of different cloud drives. So that makes it very difficult to take advantage of that video content and search it and really understand what video is out there that you can take advantage of, and then how do you increase the ROI of investments that you've made in video. And lastly, how can you take video content and then integrate it potentially with other systems? I mentioned with the website CMS system, how do you embed the video in an LMS system or in a SharePoint intranet site to make it available for consumption by employees? Video is bandwidth intensive. How do you make sure that you're managing the distribution of video so that regardless of if somebody's sitting in an office or in a kitchen, on a phone, on an iPad, on a laptop, their experiences, or sitting in Sydney, Australia versus Manhattan, in the US, they're all experiencing the same optimal viewing experience. And then video value can be trapped in the video. If you don't have the search capabilities, then how can you find video that's out there, and how do you, rather than searching through hours and hours of video, how can you use search capabilities to identify things like speakers or keywords to get to very specific videos, and then points in those videos where those keywords are mentioned to help make the process more efficient for finding video content. And then looking at, live video mistakes are highly visible and can be costly. So a CEO town hall done live certainly has risks. You want those to go off very smoothly. And how do you make sure that you're mitigating the risks to make sure that the video that you're delivering is delivered optimally to all viewers, and there aren't any hiccups, and it can be saved and consumed in an on-demand fashion. And then lastly, a challenge with video is many solutions aren't simple and don't provide a continuous experience. And users today, because of things like YouTube and other solutions on the consumer side, are really demanding that type of easy user experience in the enterprise or B2B space. And trying to deliver that user experience is critical in terms of addressing challenges within video streaming in the enterprise. Now, addressing these challenges certainly has tremendous value. So we spoke a little bit about the security. So how do you leverage technology to reduce security risks, store and protect your video content from cybersecurity? That's something that we see every day, an increase in cybersecurity and systems being hacked. That risk can lead to financial loss, legal action, stolen IP, and even brand erosion that we can see that none of us want for our organizations. Looking at how do you, investing in addressing those challenges, optimizing your network performance, making sure that video is not impacting your network and other critical systems that are using that same bandwidth, to make sure that video is delivered properly, but it's also not adversely impacting other applications that are using your network bandwidth as well. Increasing employee engagement, making sure that people are, especially in today's world, people are up to speed on the latest information and have a uniform and consistent message delivered out to those individuals. And then also removing wasted time. How do you make the development of video more efficient? How do you make the consumption of video more efficient so that people can take advantage of the great value that exists within video as a communications tool? So we provided that context up front. So now let's pivot to business continuity and how enterprise video, and specifically some of the things that VBrick has been doing to support business continuity as it also relates to the corporate communication space. So we'll talk for a second about, we mentioned Rev, our enterprise video platform. So this is our cloud software platform that manages the ingestion. We spoke about the capture of video from any source. So we're using Zoom today to broadcast this webinar. We have done this type of webinar for many other instances. For broader audiences where Zoom or Webex or Microsoft Teams isn't able to support the 1,000, 10,000, 20,000 audience sizes, we can integrate with those solutions to be the capture vehicle for the video and then distribute via Rev, so people are actually viewing the webinar via Rev. So, and then Rev manages the video content and then can distribute to any device, whether it be mobile, whether it be somebody sitting in their kitchen, whether it be somebody sitting watching it via a video system in a conference room. So we really manage that end-to-end video experience. And because of that, we have one pane of glass from an analytics perspective that allows you to see analytics and data around the video experience, whether it be for live streaming, and then as well, the on-demand experience, what videos are being consumed, how long are they being watched, things like that, that really can help you drive the greater return on your investment in video as you improve your video IQ, as you improve how you develop and where you're developing your video and where you're investing in video. So over the past several weeks, we've all been contending with working from home and also trying to navigate the new normal of communicating and how do we meet, how do we communicate with our partners, with our employees, with our customers. And in the corporate communications world, this is a focus area for your function. within the organization? How do you support communications broadly across the organization? And a couple of examples of where we've worked with some institutions. And because we have pre-built integration with things like Zoom and Webex, companies are able to very quickly stand up large events because they've made their investments in Zoom and Webex and Teams, using those as a capture vehicle, and then distribute broadly via Rev very, very quickly. So one example, a European financial services institution, the CEO wanted to hold scheduled company all-hands meetings to 5,000 plus employees. He was in his home office using a Cisco endpoint as the capture, and then through Webex was able to broadcast via the integration with Rev to over 5,000 employees and do that weekly, making sure that his employees were up to speed on what was happening in the latest information and the latest business continuity and crisis communications. Similarly, an automotive manufacturer wanted to be able to leverage video for weekly company meetings to 30,000 employees, and they used Rev to stream that live to 30,000 employees, and those employees were spread across the country across multiple different devices. And then lastly, a life sciences company that leveraged their conference room facilities. So they have an auditorium that they use for company meetings at their headquarters location, very big auditorium, and they have a camera set up with a crew, everything for broadcasting those. But what they were able to do is they were able to broadcast from that in an empty auditorium. So the executives sitting in an empty auditorium, broadcasting to their broad workforce using Rev. So being able to take advantage of the capabilities to make sure that that employees were empowered and enabled with information. So we've talked about how easy it is to leverage Rev and leverage video, and Tom's going to walk through a little tour of Rev for us in a few minutes, but I thought I'd tee it up a little bit to give you an idea of how easy it is. So looking at video on demand, it's really as easy as 1, 2, 3. You decide how you want to capture your video. So going back to what we said, you can leverage your video camera, your laptop camera, you can use Webex, you can use Zoom, you can use Teams as a way to capture the video and integrate with Rev, and then record that video to Rev. And within Rev, Rev acts as a central repository to manage all videos, and it's designed to manage the governance, so approvals and authentication. So does your video need to go through an approval process to be approved and then published? Can you add metadata to it to be able to tag the video to help in search? How do you take the video to transcribe it so you can search by keywords, or even translate the video into multiple languages for your global employee base? So all of those things really help the management of the video and helping the search for the video. Rev uses artificial intelligence or facial recognition to identify the speaker, so you can even search by speaker face and by keyword to get down to very specific searches within your video content, and then ultimately publishing the video within the Rev platform, and you can publish it. Somebody can view it on Rev. You can make it available like we do through our website, through SharePoint, if you have an intranet, through a learning management system, through multiple different vehicles to publish that video content. And then at the same time, you're still able to leverage the Rev platform to track viewing and important analytics to help you improve how you're investing and how you're using video. So similarly, live streaming starts with how do you capture the video? So we spoke a little bit about a CEO sitting in a conference center, a CEO sitting at his desk. There are multiple ways that you can use to capture video and then deliver it out to your audience. In terms of planning your event, and Tom will walk through this, it's very easy and intuitive interface to quickly create your event. You can select your day and time of your webcast, define the event title and description, easily select the source of the video with preloaded option, and also enable event recording. Event hosts can be defined as well as moderators to manage Q&A, and the audience is defined public or private, so you can restrict who can view it. And then employee or attendee engagement, things like polling and chat and QA can also be enabled to really improve the interaction and the experience of the live streaming event. And then lastly, to go live, it's frankly as easy as hitting the button to go live, as we did with this through Zoom, to publish it out and start the live stream out to your audience. So with that, I think as a little bit of a brief overview of Rev and how easy it is to deliver video to empower, engage, and transform how you communicate. But let me turn it over for a few minutes to Tom to give us a tour of Rev as a solution.
So good afternoon, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're coming from. Thanks so much for joining this webinar today. As highlighted, I work for the sales engineering team in North America. Tom McDonough here, and I'll give you a relatively brief overview of the environment. This is a software as a service video platform. It's quite extensive with its capability, its ability for workflow support and processing videos and sourcing videos from various points. I'll give you a quick overview of the portal itself and then dive into a couple of specific use cases. One is for quickly recording and editing content. As Christian highlighted, very, very simple to get content into the platform and also run through a quick live experience. What you're seeing here today is actually one of our demo environments, fully populated with video. It's actually running on our production environment, so it's fully functional. It's enterprise in nature, right? It knows who I am. It knows what role I have, what content I have access to, right? Full entitlement and full role capability on the platform, so I can either be just a viewer or a contributor or an event manager, etc. The platform is 100% browser-based, so HTML5 browser, no tools, no plugins. Very, very simple on all modern browsers, on all devices, Macs, PCs, iOS, and Androids. So very, very simple to use by design as a self-service platform. I'll run through the four main areas of the environment. This is the home page here that you're seeing. Now, obviously, we have it branded as VBrick Rev, but we fully support custom branding to the particular customer, logos, colors, layouts, etc. So very customizable to look like a web property of the customer. On this home page is sort of acting as a central landing page, although as Christian highlighted, you don't necessarily need to come to the Rev portal to watch content. We extend the live events and VODs into other web properties as he has highlighted. The home page itself is set up with carousels. This top carousel here is essentially our featured carousel set up as a mosaic. We have additional carousels that are automatically fed by other capabilities like recently added videos. We can also feed these carousels based on categories, in this case, a marketing category or a live videos category or a Cisco or an upcoming events category, etc. We also have essentially the sidebars that can be configured, making it very easy to get access to content. Again, by design, simple to use, self-service, ease of navigation has all been the focus. So this is the home page. The next primary area highlighting what Christian said as a major use case, which is VOD videos. Obviously, we support a general organization of videos into categories, and these categories are set up by the end user and the administrators. We provide the hierarchy. You provide the taxonomy in the organization. Very typical to a video content library type functionality. We also do support a notion of channels, so very similar to what you see on in the consumer domain. Users or business organizations, the marketing team, etc., can set up specific channels and have both video content associated with that channel and membership. So product management team, North American sales team, etc. Another way to view the VOD content, general categories, all videos, meaning a full list that you have access to. And keep in mind that this fully supports entitlement. So you're only able to see the videos that you are entitled to see. So we can control confidential information, enterprise-wide content, or even public content can be hosted on this platform, okay? The next major area is the events area, and I'll come back to each of these and dive a little deeper in the short time that we have today. This is presented as a calendar. So this is typically how a live event is scheduled. As Christian highlighted, and I'll walk through this process, very, very easy to schedule an event, select your source, put some control around the event, who can see it, what type of interactivity, and boom, launch the event. The final area is the back end, and this is just really intended to highlight the amount of reporting and analytics data that we collect. So we both look site-wide and we look into individual VOD assets or live events, an extensive amount of analytics. So, and this is across the board on all consumption, regardless of it, if it's posted on an external site, if it's a part of the VOD library in a particular category or a live event. We're collecting information about who is consuming, how they're consuming it, what their experience was, and we organize that as analytics and also make that available as raw data to be downloaded and analyzed further. Back to the home page. So one of the components that Christian highlighted was searchability, right? And that's a key aspect to not only organizing the content into categories and make it very easy for people to find content, but the bottom line is today we all go to a search bar and we type in a term that we want to find, and obviously the VBRIG platform enables that very efficiently, not only to find content. I searched on the word Rev, I can find content, but I can also find inside that content deriving value on where that spoken word of Rev was said, and use that transcript as a way to navigate the content, obviously making it very efficient to not only find content, but engage with that content, find what you're looking for, and move on to the next video, etc. This is enabled through a recently launched capability called RevIQ. Artificial intelligence and machine language processing, as Christian highlighted. We are able to transcribe the audio track in a variety of languages to a time-based transcription file, and also match up the speakers inside the video. Here we're highlighting Olivier, which leads our product team. These orange areas highlight where Olivier is spoken. So essentially exposing additional value, not only of the video itself, but where in the video things occur, make it very, very easy to find. Okay, so back to the homepage. As Christian highlighted, again, designed for self-service, ease of use. If I have the role of at least media contributor, I do have the ability to actually upload content, either drag and drop a video into this blue box here. Then I can decide who can watch it. Do I actually run the transcript processing? And oh, by the way, we now translate that transcript to up to 21 different languages. The transcription is used for navigation, but it is also used for closed captioning and subtitle support. So very powerful mechanism to add value to the video asset itself. So drag and drop video here. I can also, as Christian highlighted, leverage my UC infrastructure and simply put a video address, a Webex or a Teams or a Zoom space in here, and actually make a recording directly out of that space. For the efficiency of time here, I actually made a recording earlier today. Obviously, when I make a recording, I can share content. It can be a message delivered to the staff. It can be a training. It can be an update on COVID, release cycle, come back to work, etc. Obviously, if I'm doing it on the fly as a recording, I may start it early and I may end it late. So I need the ability to actually trim that video. Any video asset that we add to the platform, we provide built into the browser interface the ability to trim, right? This is not a full-featured nonlinear editor, but it does give you the ability to trim the top and tail of the video. I can cut this out. I can add some bookmarks, enhance the video, and save, right? So very, very efficient to record video, upload content, etc. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of that. So from a VOD perspective, very easy to upload files, make recordings. Once I get into the video asset itself, I have a number of capabilities that I can assign who sees that content, what categories it might be in, enable some of the social features like comments and ratings, etc. This is manually selected or fully automated based on templates. So again, the focus here is to make it very easy to get video into the platform. Once it's in the platform, make it very easy to manage the entire life cycle of that video. Now let's go to live. As Christian highlighted, very, very simple there too. So if I want to create a new event, I need some basic data. Obviously, I want a title. I may add a shortcut to make it very easy to access this webcast. I have the ability to create a full description, start and stop time, and primarily the remaining bit is the video source, whether that's coming from a presentation, which would be an encoder, a video address, that's any video accessible through a SIP call, and we fully support WebEx Teams, WebEx Meeting Stream, Zoom, and soon to be Microsoft Teams. We can literally dial into a collaborative session between the executives and senior level, or district managers or senior directors, what have you, whoever's on that video call, we can access that and create a live stream, which I'll show you shortly. And at the same time, we're also making a recording. After the event is over, we auto ingest that recording and the process starts up just like any other VOD asset, okay? In addition to that, we set a couple of parameters like the attendee listing type. So as Christian highlighted, private or restrict who can see this content. All users, meaning everybody that has an account on the platform. This is the customer's instance, or public. And when we do public, we typically have a basic registration, perhaps a passcode, making it very easy to cross use cases, right? We can use this as an internal lockdown CEO webcast and then a marketing-based outreach program to our customers as an example. In addition to that, we can enable different levels of attendee engagement. As you see here on this Zoom meeting today, we have Q&A enabled, very, very similar chat, and we also do support polling, okay? So that is it, a couple of settings, and you save it and go. Now we also do allow automated and much more efficient configuration using templates. For the purpose of just time here, I've actually have an event already started up, and this is an event that I've configured to actually dial my home office here in Western Pennsylvania. I have a Cisco DX70 off to my right here, and at the same time I'm sharing content into that endpoint, and this is just a simple example of selecting the event, start and stop time, and the video address on my DX70 is all I really needed. Now at this point in time, I'm up in operations, I'm fully broadcasting the event. From an end user perspective, this is what it actually looks like. Simple browser, content. In this case, I have the ability, I've enabled all of this interactivity. So polling, chat, Q&A are all enabled. And this is how the end user would open up the dialogue, ask a question, submit that question, and move and continue watching the event. In this particular case, I've got a couple of questions that I think already came in. Let's see, there they are right there. So, you know, as your employees or your customers or your partners are watching the event, just like this Zoom event, they're able to ask questions. We do support the ability to fully moderate these questions. So me as the event host, I can moderate those. I have a couple of workflows against those questions, follow up, reply, set a queue or close. And I also do have the ability to add what we call moderators to the event, and their focus is simply moderating, looking at the questions, assigning them to the speaker queue. That's going to be a device that's near the podium or near the home office where the CEO is speaking, as an example. He or she looks down, reads the question out over the air, answers that, and keeps on going, right? So this is, you know, a very effective way. Now, for a few questions, I can handle it. For, as Christian said, we did a couple of events for 30,000 end users with Q&A turned on. We had 4 or 5 moderators actually fielding questions, processing them, forwarding up to the speaker, et cetera, et cetera. So that is a live event. I'm going to go ahead and end the event. And when I end the event, I now have access, as I said in the beginning, to a full set of analytics and raw data about the event itself. So how many attendees were on the event, what their quality of experience was. So we're actually getting real-time feedback from the player, who were the users that were on that event, and then also a full download of the polling, chat, and Q&A data, plus the full attendees list. So that is a nutshell of overview of the vBrick Rev platform. Again, quite an extensive set of functionality delivered by this environment here, and happy to go into further detail for those that are interested.
Okay, thanks, Tom. So with that, let's go to questions, and we've had a number of questions submitted from the audience, and I'll just read through those, and then Tom and I can answer them. So one question more specific is, what's the timing on support for Microsoft Teams integration? That is coming up with the June release. That integration will be available with the June release. So we have another question just around some of the stats on slide 9 and whether or not the presentation will be available. It will be sent out by IABC to the registrants. So in terms of another question around how quickly can we get set up? So as Tom showed, it's very easy to quickly create an event integrating with Teams, integrating with Webex, integrating with Zoom. So we've been able to set up company events very, very quickly as a result of that pre-built integration. And then the second part of that question is, what support do you have for customers to help them be successful? So when you become a Vibra customer, you're assigned a customer success manager, and that manager is responsible for supporting you and how you're using Rev and where you're using Rev to make sure that your events are delivered optimally. There's another question here about distribution. So between can you reach individuals outside the network and inside the network? And Tom, maybe you could talk a little bit about some of the distribution capabilities that we have to serve those different audience locations.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, the Rev platform in and of itself is full service that I walked you through, but what you don't see is behind the scenes, and that is the equally as important component, which is the content delivery. When I click play on a VOD or when I click join on the live webcast, behind the scenes, that video is being distributed to you. Today, for a lot of our customers that are work at home, that's coming via the internet. We have relationships with global CDN providers to include Akamai and CloudFront. So for those that are not on the corporate network, we'll get a live stream or VOD stream from one of those CDNs. But when they are hopefully in the near term returned back to the home offices, and you have hundreds, if not thousands, of employees in a particular site or location, unicast or multicast delivery, can constrain the network. So we have a number of solutions. We have our distributed media engine, which is a media processing node that is a virtual appliance that is deployed on the customer network. We also have an edge technology called Rev Connect, which is an edge mesh capability for sites that are small enough that really don't have the capability to deploy a virtual appliance. And so we instantiate a micro peering mesh at that site. So combination of the external CDNs, the distributed media engines, which provide scalable unicast or multicast delivery, and the edge peering capability called Rev Connect is how we accomplish essentially a global footprint of content delivery.
All right. There's another question about security. We've seen a lot of news about security of video. Can you talk a little bit about the security of Rev? So Tom, do you want to take that, or
sure?
Or do you...
I mean, Rev as a platform is it's FedRAMP certified. So out of the gate, the application itself and our data center infrastructure is fully secured and passes the DoD requirement for FedRAMP. In and of itself, everything related to the platform, both dialing into the portal, clicking on video, clicking on a live event, is fully encrypted. Both the content that sits in Rev and the live streaming from Rev is fully encrypted. That, in addition to adding user accounts and using the customer's Active Directory environment to create and synchronize accounts, and single sign-on workflows through their identity provider, actually authenticate users. Once they're authenticated, we encrypt as the video moves to their browser. So extremely secure from top to bottom, the back end all the way to the front end browser of the end user.
Great. And then another question around, you talked about business continuity. How are you supporting, or do you have any offers related to help support companies in their business continuity efforts? So you'll see on the slide in front of you on the presentation, there's a web page that you can actually visit that provides a lot of resources around video and business continuity, ranging from blogs that we've published, information on how you can integrate with Webex and with Zoom as capture sources for video. And then in addition, a link to an offer that we've put together to support free trials of Rev for companies wanting to leverage video to support business continuity initiatives. So you can visit this web page and navigate to that offer page as well and fill out the form, and one of our representatives will contact you very quickly and get you live on video as soon as needed. There's one other question about editing, and Tom, I'll hand this off to you. Did you say that you can edit out parts in the middle of the video, or just the beginning and the ending?
So great question. What I showed you was the in-browser video editing capability. Today it's a clipping tool, and yes, you can clip top, tail, and out of the middle, as many of those clips as you want. So you can remove dead air, you can remove a start early and a go late type scenario. So clean it up and make it a very tight VOD asset. Clipping and the ability to add bookmarks and chapter markers today. We are looking at adding, bumpers and trailers and potentially graphics down the road in an upcoming release. So today it's clipping, and that's clipping anywhere in the timeline, beginning, end, or anywhere in the middle.
Got it. And then a last question on the growth of work from home. The source was, and when you receive the slides, you'll see it cited, was Enterpri's research, a survey that they did about the pre-COVID, post-COVID work from home for full-time and part-time employees broken out by company sizes. So that'll be available, and you can also visit Enterpri's research for additional information. Very good analyst firm focused on the video space and doing a lot of work related to video and really collaboration tools in today and how they'll evolve going into the future. So I think that's it for the questions today. Want to thank you all for spending your lunch hour with us. Hopefully it was informative. And if you have any questions, you can certainly contact us our contact information is here you have the telephone number, and then also email, and you can visit us at vbrick.com to learn more. A tremendous amount of resource information, whether it be white papers, videos, like I said, the business continuity page, blogs on the use of video and specific to corporate communications. So we'd love to have you visit our website and send us any questions you may have. But in the meantime, thank you very much for your time today.
Great. Thank you so much, Christian and Tom, for this great webinar. And thank you to vbrick as well. And just as a reminder, we will be sending out a copy of the recording and the slides then for you to watch at your leisure or share with your colleagues. Thanks, everyone. Stay well and have a great day.
Thanks.